I'm Bobby.
I'm Nathan.
And this
could be a podcast.
But I think if you look at like Weird Al, the parody version of comedic songwriting,
yes,
it leaves room only for creativity really within the lyric.
You're locked in.
Yeah.
You're locked into that confines of that one song.
Right.
And I mean, don't get me wrong. There's plenty of things that you can fool around with and play with, but you're still locked inside there.
Yeah, you have a lot of room to move, creatively. But when you approach it like Flight of the Conchords or Lonely Island Boys,
right?
Was it just Lonely Island or is it Lonely Island Boys?
I believe it's The Lonely Island.
The Lonely Island. So wrong on both accounts. Okay. Anyway, but how they approach it, and I really can't think of any comparable bands that make like funny. Sometimes bands would do like there'd be like a funny pop punk band.
Sure.
Blink 182. It comes to mind of like a band that would be funny in like their music videos.
Sure.
And not really that serious of songs.
Yeah.
But they definitely weren't comedic songs.
Right. I mean, I think I understand what you're saying. And it's something about you're doing a style of song like that Flight of the Conchords song where this is a romantic groove. I mean, groove, I don't know, some kind of R&B inspired.
It's stylistically spot on. And I think that's part of the genius of it, or part of the legitimacy of it is that they're stylistically living in this world without ripping it off completely and then having fun with lyrics. Because I know like The Lonely Island, I can see how they write lyrics. Like they have a word they want to rhyme, and then they know that's going to be the beeline.
Damnedest.
They're going to that's the beeline. We know we want it to get to that. So it doesn't matter what that word is,
Yeah.
If it's table and needs to be pineapple, we're going to do that and we're going to make it work.
We're going to make it work.
But and that in itself is a creative way of like making lyrics that are weird and nonsensical.
Non sequitur. I mean, it's just like, and I love that. I mean, I enjoy, invention is the mother of necessity. I mean, necessity is the mother of invention. I love that.
Yeah.
There's something about that. I mean, that's why I loved Vine. Like, Vine was like something that just really spoke to me. Yeah. And I really dug.
If you were born after 2010, it's called TikTok.
Now it's TikTok. Well, I don't find, maybe it's me. I don't find any like the TikToks. I don't find them as humorous as Vines.
I don't watch them.
And it could be that just me and my oldest son have really bonded over like Vine compilations over the years. And also like my one niece, like literally like, was it like the other day, I saw like she had a water bottle and she had a sticker on it and said, and they were roommates. And I'm like, oh my God, I love that Vine. And my sister-in-law's like, what the hell are you even talking about? Like, I've got a weird, I don't know whether I am a 14-year-old girl at heart or my niece is a 30-year-old man.
One of the two.
It's one of those two. And we could do a real, like, if we had some kind of weird body swap situation.
That's the body swap movie that needs to happen now,
right? Where we're both comfortable.
Yeah, and everyone's fine.
And everybody's fine. I mean, do you want to go back? I mean, I don't care. Are you okay? I mean,
as many incarnations as that style of movie has had, they've never done the teenage girl swaps with the mid-30s man.
Mid-30s man.
Yeah,
and they're fine with it.
They're both fine with it. Yeah, everyone else has hated the switching because it's like, oh no, I appreciate yours.
No, I can see your perspective now. Yeah. No,
it's just I get it.
Yeah, that was a great John Mulaney bit. Did you see that was an SNL bit from a few years ago?
No.
Where it was
they just steal this original idea.
No, it was called Switcher. It was like, hey, let's talk about Switcheroo. Like they're rebooting old series is the hot thing in Hollywood these days.
It has been for the last 40 years. But
let's bring on the original creator of Switcheroo, a mid-90s comedy show. And it was about like a dad and a son switching bodies. And they focus exclusively on how the son had to have sex with his mom Like that's all we cared about. You know, we weren't going to go in through the family dynamics.
No.
And it was just about how the mom had to have sex with her son. And that was it.
Yeah,
and we
that
got
was-
shut down. And now we're shooting in, some kind of cult in Brazil because that's the only place that'd have us.
Well, after Back to the Future, you really couldn't do that.
Right. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, there's Freaky Friday.
There's Freaky Friday.
There's Vice Versa.
18 again. 18
going on 30.
18 going on
no,
30.
but that's not. I mean, that's a body swap with yourself though. That's the thing.
Not that there's not a
No.
theme
Hold
and
on.
variation with
What
it.
was the
There was a Zac Efron movie, I believe, that was
that with
Matthew Perry.
Matthew Perry.
Yeah.
What was that? Was that one 13? No, 13 going on 30 was.
What would you call that genre? What would
I mean, it's body swap.
Body swap.
So yeah, there's Vice Versa with that was the shittier version with what's his name?
body swap for? Oh no, those are just okay. No,
Jumanji, the next level. Okay, keep going.
I don't think this is
Avatar, Bing John Malkovich, which is available on
This is not the genre
Netflix
that
right
we're
now.
looking
No,
for.
keep going. Change Up, that's a body swap.
Yeah.
Okay, Meet Joe Black, I don't think so. Quantum Leap,
13
going
on
30. Big.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll count Face Off. Face Off is on this list.
17 again. That's the
one.
Zac Efron.
The hot chick.
The hot chick.
Mm-hmm.
Freaky Friday.
I've never seen I Feel Pretty, but
Drop Dead Diva. I don't think Shrek the Third did have a body swap element. Selfless. Heaven Can Wait. Which one? Heart and Souls.
yeah. They're having a pretty long leash on this body swap.
Yeah,
but,
I don't remember Monkey.
All of Me.
All of Me.
That's a
Didn't we watch the trailer for All of Me?
yeah. We did watch that.
I don't remember Switch. Who is that? Jimmy Smits? Nope.
We're getting down into
9 Lives. Where's?
this is stupid.
Go ahead, do me a favor.
Down
to Earth, which is the Heaven Can Wait remake, which was Heaven Can Wait was a remake from like a 1960s. 18 again.
18 again and Vice Versa are both.
There's Vice Versa. For some reason, like that's the video store one
Mm-hmm.
that I remembered. Oh,
Yeah,
like
Judge
Father
Reinhold.
Like Son.
Yep.
With oh my God, there was a father and son body swap movie that came out. Here, scroll up for 1 second. That came out a year apart from each other, both with Americans, and that's a real. I don't remember this one with Dudley Moore and Kirk Cameron. As compared to I watched the Judge Reinhold Fred Savage one.
Yeah. But it's a thing where if you can find an original take on it, being the 14-year-old girl swaps with a 35-year-old man,
and they're fine.
and they're
with
fine. That I think he could pitch. I think he can make that work. But
right. It'd certainly be weird.
It would be weird, but
But
I don't know.
I mean,
What would your title be? A working title?
working title of
It would have to be something like weird and then okay.
Oh, no.
Like a
Oh no, I think it'd just be one of those super long literal.
no. I'm saying like it would be like oddly fine or something like that.
I think no, it'd be like it would literally be like 30-year-old man switches body with 14-year-old girl, and they're fine with it. Just run on title.
Yeah,
just
title.
That's the bit.
Okay.
Because there's
Just really give it all away.
Just really give it all away.
Yeah.
But the trick is, the thing is, in the end, they do find that they do like where they're at in society.
Yeah. Might need to workshop that some more.
I
never enjoyed these movies, by the way.
It's a weird genre. I don't know. Hey, that's great. I just noticed that the Vice Versa, they went ahead and avoided all things with regards to the sex with your mom because he was in a divorced executive.
Yeah. Probably the difference between father like son.
That's the trick.
They got it wrong with like father like son in 87.
Yeah.
There was way too much Kirk Cameron trying to fuck his mom.
Right? Or, yeah, I don't know. Yeah. That's weird.
Yeah.
It is certainly an odd genre.
Vice Versa reminds me of all the zany office comedies that were made in the 80s where somehow people get tricked to go like get a high level position. It happened in Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead.
Yeah, I'm aware of that one.
And then The Secret to My Success, I believe is similar.
I cannot tell you that.
Michael J. Fox.
I say
and
that.
Then
no, what was the one?
There's some other ones I can't think of.
Gosh.
But like they basically con their way into these high-level jobs that they would never
I'm trying
get.
to think here. Is there a way? I feel like there's some Richard Pryor movie like that. Is there a Richard Pryor movie or am I just thinking
Brewster's Millions?
Or am I just thinking of? Maybe I'm just thinking of
which is great, by the way.
What's the Dan Aykroyd, Eddie Murphy Trading Places?
Yeah,
which is not a body swap.
It's not a body swap movie.
There's the Trading Places.
It might be on this list though. It's a pretty loose interpretation.
You know what's great about Trading Places?
Don Amici.
Don Amici. Son of a bitch.
Are you a fan of Brewster's Millions? I remember loving that movie as a child. That was one of those movies that would play on cable like every other day.
I have not seen it.
You've never seen it?
I've seen like a very small segment of it on television. I remember like one time trying to like get my head into like the concept of retelling stories from movies to my children, like as a weird exercise. Like, let's say like it becomes the apocalypse.
You're going to tell the story.
And I'm going to tell the story of Brewster's Millions to my children. Yeah. And I tried, and it was very difficult because like, you know, here I am, it's the apocalypse. I need to entertain people. Mm-hmm. And I don't know, I guess I'll just like start with, eventually I'm going to get to Brewster's Millions because I kind of remembered the plot of it.
Well, it's a great, as a child, I remember it was always a great plot.
It's an interesting like it's an interesting fantasy.
Yeah, to be able to spend $1 million in order to get. I think the plot was he had to spend $1 million
in a day.
No, it was in a certain. It was in a month. I think it was a month.
In a month.
Yeah, and again, showing just how different the economy and the world was back then. It took him a long time. There was different parameters. He couldn't do certain, like he couldn't donate the money. He couldn't.
Right.
There was a bunch of different things he couldn't do.
There's a lot of rules.
So he bought I remember he bought like a baseball team and then became the starting pitcher.
I think he bought the Cubs and had the Cubs play like in his shitty softball league.
Yeah, something like that.
Like that was, I want to say, I feel like that was the climax, but maybe that's just where I was in the, like when I, like the.
We're going to look it up.
15 minutes of the movie I caught.
Are you a fan of Richard Pryor's stand-up?
Like.
Are you familiar with it?
I listened to a couple of his albums when, like in college. Like in college, some guy's like, "Oh my gosh, you really got to listen to this guy." I mean, you know Richard Pryor.
Okay,
right?
so he has to spend $30 million in 30 days, $1 million a day. That's what it is. In order to inherit $300 million. However, he's not allowed to own any assets, destroy the money, gift it, give it to charity, or tell anyone about the deal. I love. That's a great premise for a movie. Honestly,
that's a good.
That came out 4 days before I was born. How about that? That's why I love it so much, because I just found out that information. And Don Amici was in it too.
Was Don Amici?
No, he wasn't.
No, he wasn't.
But
John Candy was.
But Richard Pryor's comedy very rarely like holds up generation to generation.
Uh-huh.
A lot of it's very stylized. Richard Pryor, and I'm being a dead horse here by saying like his holds up quite a bit. It's just as funny and poignant today as it was back then.
I remember laughing at it and it being still shocking. I remember there was something about menstruation and I don't remember what it was, but I remember like this is
him talking about getting caught on fire by smoking crack and everything. Like
that's just, day in the life stuff. You know what I mean?
We've all been there.
We've all been there.
But his movies, I remember, I was always introduced to his movies.
Fucking Jerry Orbach's in that movie?
Yeah.
Son of a bitch. I'm a big fan of Jerry Orbach.
Oh, the guy from Law and Order?
You mean, no, Lumiere from Beauty and the Beast? Is that what you mean?
Oh. Looks like the guy from...
He is the guy from... He is Lenny. Yeah. Lenny? Is it Lenny Bruce? Not Lenny Bruce. It's Lenny...
Law and Order.
What's his Lenny Briscoe. There it is.
I've never seen an episode of Law and Order ever.
You've never?
I've never watched.
That was interesting. Like growing up watching Law and Order, like that was family viewing when I was in high school. Like we would watch Law and Order, and I enjoyed it. I remember to this day, I still love J.K. Simmons. Like J.K. Simmons just fucking killed it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I remember I was over at like my brother's house, and I was like, "Oh, what's this show? It's Oz. Okay, what is this? It's a prison." And I'm like, "Oh, hey, it's the really interesting criminal psychologist from Law and Order. Oh, he's just a white supremacist? Oh man, you are blowing my mind, J.K. Simmons, on how versatile you are."
And I don't want to take anything away from J.K. Simmons because he's great. But the reason why I can't get into The Wire is the delivery of the dialogue is so formulaic. It's so edited, scripted. It doesn't seem like there's any room. Everyone's saying an exact, concise paragraph before the next person gets to come up with like a witty one-liner in 0 seconds.
Sure.
And it's less with The Wire with the witty comebacks, but that's all I ever saw. I've gotten 3 episodes into The Wire, probably 3 different times.
That's too bad. Because I mean,
it's
good.
hard.
It's good. I mean,
but
having only watched it once,
but everything seems so. It seems like a real procedural or like a right.
No, I mean it's all like literally it's.
That's what Law and Order is. Though.
It's one case. Like with The Wire, it's one case over like 3 seasons, and then they jump like last 2 seasons. I want to say they kind of jump around a little bit, but
it's the delivery of the dialogue. It's how it's written. I feel like they're written very similarly because whereas Law and Order is case by case, right?
It's procedural. I mean
but it seems like The Wire is. It just goes back and forth, and it becomes so much where you're like, it doesn't feel real. I don't know if it makes sense or if that's just a cop-out. I think
there's a lot of people who disagree with you.
Oh, I know it's very unpopular.
I mean, I remember enjoying The Wire like a lot. Have I rewatched The Wire? No, I've only watched it once in one sitting over the course of.
A lot of people consider it the greatest show ever made. And
it's a really good, as far as an ensemble piece, like it's really good. And being on both sides of the law, and also, well, like the 3 sides of the law, if you want to be like, there's the people who make the law, the politicians, and then there's the people who enforce the law, and then there's the people who break the law.
That sounds like the intro to Law and Order, by the way.
A little bit. No, because they don't give a fuck. Law and Order does not give a fuck.
It seems like they made Law and Order for
unless
HBO,
you're watching,
and it's still called The Wire.
Criminal Intent, right? Law and Order, Criminal Intent. They would show you like who killed the person at the first episode break. They'd show you like how this guy killed this person at this point, and then you'd watch them try to get away with it.
I also think too, I just was never into that style of show. I never cared to watch. Like I like a good detective movie, every once in a while. It's fine.
You like a good whodunit?
Yeah, I mean, I always go to Seven as like one of my favorite detective movies. I mean, I love that movie.
It's a good movie.
And like L.A. Confidential, I think is great.
They're good movies.
I really enjoyed The Nice Guys. That was great.
The Nice Guys was a severely underrated movie.
Yeah, but all those movies, it's the tone of it. I mean, it's really the tone of Law and Order and the tone of The Wire that doesn't get me. Whereas you know how much I love The Sopranos, and the tone of The Sopranos is. Whereas it's Goodfellas has its tone of like everything's really sharp and everything's moving quick, and it's life of luxury, every cocaine, all money everywhere like that.
Yeah, chicken fingers.
Sopranos was so exactly. Sopranos was so mundane and the day to day, and that different look of it. Whereas, I can't think of a good detective TV show or detective movie that. It's the same kind of
mundane.
Same like day to day. This is ongoing. Maybe LA Confidential is that kind of a little bit.
I've enjoyed not so much the last season, but Bosch on Amazon.
Okay.
I've enjoyed that mostly because it's one case. I mean, there'll be a case peppered in, like woven into like a 3-episode arc, like that might tangentially be related to the main case. And then on top of that, there's like an even lower case, like just who I am as a person. My mother was murdered, and I wanted to learn more about that. And that gets like, that's like every like 5th or 6th episode. And then they'll remind you again at the end of the season that his mom died as a prostitute, and that's it. So I've enjoyed that, whereas like we're working literally one case for the entirety of this season.
I'm reminded of the first season of True Detective, and then Mindhunters are another one where Mindhunter. I remember falling in love with it because again it was very mundane. It was very I guess not a slave to its technology, because I mean because in the show itself like they don't know what actually they're going after, but
they just they don't know. They're discovering, they're learning as they go, and just being like,
which I think is an interesting approach to telling a detective story, basically.
Right, and that's and they don't really tell, like they're not working a case.
No,
and
there's one case woven in and out.
Yeah,
but you never. I mean,
but we still haven't gotten there.
We still haven't gotten there,
which is crazy.
Which I really thought that was fascinating, and the first season of True Detective was really good, really good. Something I remember watching more than, I think we watched it 3 times or something.
Whoa, I enjoyed it. I did not mind the second season. I think a lot of people didn't like it. I'm like,
we couldn't get through it.
It's not as good.
That's the thing about it.
It's not as good. I mean, you're not going to get Time is a Flat Circle, lectures, but I enjoyed it, and I enjoyed just as much of the jumping around in time that it did.
I think True Detective, the way that it was built to be miniseries one-off kind of thing.
That's the way to do it.
But it's the way to do it, but it's also very difficult to pull off. I mean, it's because especially when the first one hits so big, you're trying to follow up a massive debut album.
Sure.
And it's always going to fall flat. Whether in retrospect you're like, "Oh, it actually wasn't that bad." It pales in comparison to the first thing you did.
Right. Because you had your entire life. You have, when you make that first album, you have your entire life you have worked every single one of those songs to the absolute fucking bone. Yep. That you put every ounce of talent that you have available into every single song. And then you got to follow it up.
And then 6 months later, you have to start the process of following it up.
And it's like, hey, what other ideas? What else you got? I mean, I don't.
Some have enough catalog where you can pull.
Right. And I don't think it was bad. I think a lot of those, to follow along with the analogy of the debut album of a band, I think a lot of people listen to the second album of a band long after it's done. Yeah. And then they're like, maybe, hopefully they do, but and think like, oh, that wasn't nearly as bad as when it first came out, Right. And I can't think of any good examples off the top of my head right now, but Blink-182.
Sophomore Slump is real.
I mean,
I don't think Blink-182 has a sophomore slump.
I don't know. I'm joking. Just because it was brought up before. Did you watch the 3rd season of True Detective?
No. I
think I watched maybe most of one episode, and then that was about the time I had to give up my HBO account. I'm just like, I'm done with HBO.
What happened to your HBO account?
I don't need this in my life. I don't like this.
That's how good the 3rd season was.
Well, no, I'm like, do I need $15 a month for this? No, I don't. Okay, we're done. Moving on.
Wow, these. I'm looking up bad follow-up albums.
Bad follow-up albums.
Puffy's Forever, Puff Daddy's Forever is on the list. Oh, Hootie and the Blowfish for Fairweather Johnson. I mean, again, how are you going to follow up Cracked Rear View?
You can't.
It's one of the top 20 best-selling albums of all time. Is
my question? The only one I can really think of, Meatloaf. I love Meatloaf. I don't remember Dead Ringer at all.
The follow-up to Bad Out of Hell.
I retold that story about Kelsey Grammer and Meatloaf, by the way, and.
Oh yeah, we haven't told that on the podcast.
No, we haven't. Oh, anyhow,
have we?
No, we haven't. I don't think so. Anyhow, before we get too far, I'm gonna go and say, the band Live.
Mm-hmm.
Their first album, Throwing Copper.
Yep.
And their second was like Dolphin Tears or something. If that's not on the list,
we're gonna look through real quick here. Oh,
no.
You're not wrong though. You're not wrong.
Like that was
because that Throwing Copper had at least 2, maybe 3 hits.
I think that had 3 hits. Mm-hmm. I want to say.
But yeah, to follow up.
Okay.
So to follow up, Meatloaf's Bat Out of Hell, 30 million album sales, and then Dead Ringer comes out, $6 million album sales. What went wrong? Pretty much everything. At the peak of his success, of course, that's what we just call him.
Because hold on, no, Meatloaf is two words. It's 2 words.
It's 2 different
words.
Meat
space loaf.
Meat was drowning in drugs, killing himself on tour, and mired in legal battles with his former partner / songwriter Jim
Steinman.
Did you know that they had a
little bit of a falling out? Yeah,
I would say so. There's legal battles.
Well, because it's like, who's Meatloaf? And Meatloaf would say, well, I'm Meatloaf. But then Jim Steinman would say, Meatloaf, you are known only for these beautiful, gorgeous songs that I've made. I have laid out a treasure trove of wonderful songs in front of you. And that's all you're good for is my songs.
Okay, so we're going to wrap around to this here because this is interesting. So it says, when it came time to follow up a Bat Out of Hell, he developed a psychological singing block, of course, because Jim Steinman's not there. That's called what that is. And Steinman eventually recorded what would become Bad for Good on his own.
Oh, yeah, that was his own album.
By the time Loaf, you can't do both.
You can't do Meat and then Loaf.
Okay,
right.
It's going to be weird for me.
Well, it's weird for everybody. Meat and Loaf.
By the time Loaf was ready to sign again, the moment had passed and American audiences were no longer interested. Meatloaf's career would remain in stasis until he and Steinman wised up, mended fences, and released Bat Out of Hell 2 in 1993. So 12 years later. But if I'm taking Meatloaf to court and having to prove that my presence on your album is valuable, I would only look to this one album that you put out after selling 30 million. I mean, and say like, well, I definitely was part of it. I mean, I wrote most of the songs, if not all of them.
I think he wrote all of the songs.
And then you put out something. Of course, then he runs in a psychological singing block. I love that. It's just the guy that writes the songs wasn't there anymore. So
what should I be singing?
I forget.
I don't think I've. Well, I want to say maybe. Like, here's a great story time. So my brother Dwayne, he got married in like 1995, and
that was the year Cracked Review came out. But
was it? I want to say it was 95, 96. My brother got married.
How much Hootie and the Blowfish was played at the wedding?
I couldn't tell you that. Anyhow,
that's disappointing.
So we're at the Afton Country Club, and they play Paradise by the Dashboard Light. And my sister-in-law, Carrie, who I love dearly, is like going crazy. Everybody's going crazy. It's a great song. It's a wonderful song. It has not been overplayed ad nauseum, I would say, at this point in society. Or at least not in Afton, Iowa. Okay. I don't know.
Okay.
Anyhow, later at the reception, my dad says, Carrie, hey, what was that song you were singing? It's kind of long, Paradise by the Dashboard. She's like, oh, that's Paradise. I love that song. Like, it was a big thing for me. Like, my 8th grade, like, dance formal. We all loved the shit out of that song. It's a great song. It's, it's Meatloaf. It's Bat Out of Hell. He's like, oh, okay. Like, the next day, we went to Walmart, and my dad bought Bat Out of Hell on cassette. Now, my dad was a rural mail carrier, and he spent literally 5 to 6 hours in his car a day driving around the back roads of Union County.
So this is where your love and deep admiration
my deep admiration Meatloaf comes through. And he listened to that son of a bitch on repeat for like 2 months straight.
Well, that's what you would do with cassette tapes.
And
you just wouldn't take it out.
He's just like, man, this song's great. And then like the whole like you took the words right out of your mouth, like the weird like intro with Jim Steinman. Have you ever, that part? It's like, what do you say to the wolf with the red roses?
No.
Would you offer him your lips? Mm-hmm. Yes. It's the fucking weirdest fucking thing ever. Mm-hmm. And then, would you offer you your soul? And just all this weird shit. And then he's like, I bet you say that to all the boys. And then they start playing Take the Words Right Out of My Mouth. Are you familiar with that one?
No.
That song? Oh, it's great. Mm-hmm. Excellent.
I'm sure
it's as far as like songs off of Bat Out of Hell, it's top 3.
I think I owned Bat Out of Hell on cassette.
Anyhow.
But anyway.
Dad went into a deep, like...
Your dad?
My father.
Okay.
Sorry. I know how much you hate that. My father went into a, like... went really deep into Meatloaf, and I want to say maybe, just maybe, he also bought Dead Ringer on cassette.
Might have.
I think he did. He also.
So wait a second. So how old were you at this time? Or
I was like 12.
No, so he would have bought. I mean, did he buy it long after the fact?
Oh yeah, this is like a decade and a half, 2 decades.
I'm wondering if they didn't sell Dead Ringer still.
I mean. It wouldn't.
Because I remember Meatloaf
going to being able to go to Sam Goody, and
95,
and say, "Oh, hey, do you have a Dead Ringer by Meatloaf?" I mean,
they might have.
They also like had, and then he bought Bat Out of Hell too, and also enjoyed the shit out of that and listened to that.
I remember when that was a revival. I remember that, and then the Eagles revival, but
that was about the same time.
I found this thing about the sophomore slump.
It's the musical equivalent to the Bermuda Triangle.
But a staggering 66.25% of the time, the grades drop from their initial release, based on from there they received the aggregation website album of the year, comparing the scores of 80 debut records with their follow-up. So, based on a scoring system that lends.
Yeah, I mean,
and then they go through. I'm interested in this because it's wow. Looks like the difficult second album really is a thing.
It's
so
tough.
These are all the bands that had a worse second album. We looked at the best debut albums of all time to find out how the artist's second album compared to the first. Okay, click the artist to see that. Okay, so who do you want to see? We got a myriad of
Weezer. I think that's
Weezer came up in my mind when I first right down here.
It's in alphabetical order.
It's not, because Arctic Monkeys is right in front of them.
Oh, well, I lied then.
Okay, so Pinkerton.
Pinkerton really?
Yeah, so it went from a critic score of 93 to critic score of 91.
Oh, that's not bad.
That's not a lot.
Okay.
So Metallica, they're going Kill 'Em All to Ride the Lightning, 1 to 100 to 95.
No fucks given. I think here the Cars.
What are you talking about? Oh my god. The Cars one of the best debut albums of all time.
Yeah,
we're gonna follow it up.
Negative 30 points with Candy O. I remember that album cover just because it had a sexy lady on it.
I own that album. I own both those albums, by the way.
Interesting.
But it's hard to follow up an album that literally has 10 songs on it and 6 of them are hits. Okay.
What was GNR? What was GNR's follow-up album after?
GNR Lies.
I don't.
That's like a B-side tape. That's like an acoustic.
I don't remember that.
I consider not Use Your Illusion.
Use Your Illusion 1 and 2.
Yeah, but I mean, this is kind of like their follow. They also had the Spaghetti Incident as well.
I remember listening to the Spaghetti Incident as a child and being like, okay,
Arctic Fire.
Arcade Fire.
See, I don't agree with this. Arcade Fire's Funeral into Neon Bible. That's a great 1-2 punch. I
Oasis. Where's Live in this? Come on, guys.
And I also don't agree with this either. How does Pretty Hate Machine by 9 Inch Nails get an 84 and the Downward Spiral, one of the great albums of the 90s, gets a 76? This is one of the great 1-2 punches of all time.
I think, I don't know. Where's Smashing Pumpkins fit into this? That's the question.
Well, they're not on the worst, so because they did it the right way. They went mediocre debut, phenomenal second album, Melancholy and the Infinite Sadness.
Great album.
And they might actually be on the better here. Because there's worse, same, and better.
But I think Can you even remind me what Smashing Pumpkins' first album was? Because I don't remember
Gish.
it. What was the songs? I can't even tell you the hits off of that. I mean, so if you want to talk about best-selling albums, best highly rated first album.
We're going with the critics grade here. And again, I don't necessarily agree with the grade system here that they're going with. I'll go back to this.
Oh.
Gish was I believe their first major label release.
Did it say it went platinum? Is that what it was? Certified platinum.
Yeah, certified platinum.
So
So
what songs was that?
there's track listing here. Songs. I don't think they had a hit. I think they had.
Nope.
I Am One. Oh, Rhinoceroses. Yeah.
Nope. None of this. Maybe that's just me like not getting late to the party. Being listen. The alternative rock station didn't show up until I was in 7th grade. So
Yeah. So
that was 95. So.
And I'll make sure, because I'm pretty sure Gish was before. I know Gish was before Melancholy.
Was Siamese Dream?
Siamese Dream was before, in between that. And Siamese Dream had.
Was there a hit on Siamese Dream?
Yeah. Yep. That had Today. Today is the greatest. That would have been played.
That was on Siamese
But again,
Dream.
I love Siamese Dream. It's fantastic. It's not as good as Melancholy and Infinite Sadness. So that it's not on this list is.
I mean, anytime like you have the starting lyric being "the world is a vampire," like that really speaks to me.
That was that's as far as double albums go.
It's a good double album.
It's a perfect double album. It's listenable all the way through. There are hits on both sides of the album too, where you have songs that you like to hear. And again, talk about having on cassette again. I initially got that thing on cassette.
On cassette?
I love cassettes because you listen to the album and you start to appreciate things that you didn't appreciate the first time or that you would have skipped over, not given it a lot of time to. Probably like your dad's experience.
Yeah.
Having Bat Out of the Hell. And I remember I listened to Alice in Chains Facelift for like 2 weeks straight. Not because I was lazy and didn't want to change out the album. It was just that every time I had it on and it played, it was great. So I just left it.
Yeah, I'll just let it go.
Yeah.
I'll allow it. Is that what you did? I'll allow it.
Exactly what I did. Here's where I start to disagree with this list. I go, Oasis, their first album, definitely maybe. Great album. No doubt.
Don't have any clue. No clue about before What's the Story Morning Glory. No clue. But then again, that's just me.
It's like the reverse of the Cars. Okay, so the band's getting faulted for 60% of the songs on that album being hits for the Cars in the Cars situation. Of course, you can't follow it up. That's an insane hit rate for songs. I don't know how the same scoring system works for a band where definitely maybe had maybe one or two hits.
I couldn't even tell you a single song off of their first album.
Half of What's the Story Morning Glory is hits.
Huge.
And it's got a lower grade. So I don't necessarily agree with this.
This is
list.
I mean the problem is that it's nonsense.
Well, and the same thing with Rage Against the Machine. Their self-titled album and Evil Empire are two great albums. How there's a 21-point difference?
Because how many people reviewed? That's the question. Here's the problem with the
we need
metrics.
No parameters of this of concerthotels.com.
The people who the number of people who reviewed their first album, their self-titled album, was probably like 20 independent indie rock rock magazines and zines probably as well, as compared to Evil Empire, which was probably literally everybody and their mother once Rolling Stones got a hold of it. So
it's a fair point. Point.
I mean, listen,
everything's getting indie cred, and then when they sell out, then
well, no, I think it's just like you're being like, hey, I'm sitting here, I'm supposed to be reviewing not only like Hootie and the Blowfish's second album, but I'm also supposed to be listening to this Rage Against the Machine album. Now, which one do you think am I going to review more favorably? Which one's going to be like out of absolutely fucking left field, something I've never heard before, and I'm supposed to give oh no, this is just garbage. This is out of mainstream garbage. That's what probably a lot of people would say about Rage Against the Machine's The Evil Empire. That's my guess. I'm the music critic for the New York Times or the Newsweek or Time Magazine are not going to look unfavorably to Rage Against the Machine compared to almost every other mainstream act.
I think you're circling around the real thing with Sophomore Slump. Mm-hmm. The Sophomore Slump necessarily isn't the second album. It's your next album after your success.
After your hit.
Yeah. Because again, if we're looking at Smashing Pumpkins, like Gish into Siamese Dream, those were two major label releases. Yeah. Okay. Siamese Dream was relatively successful. Gish was a underground success. Definitely enough to maintain a fan base and everything. But then once Melancholy and Infinite Sadness hits, then you go to...
What was the album after that?
I believe it's Adore. Adore, Machina, and The Breakup. So the band fell apart after that.
I have no idea.
And I bet if I looked at grades of Adore and Machina, or I think that's how you pronounce it.
That could be Machina.
Yeah, they might have a weird...
Machina, I believe, is the Latin...
And that's totally within Billy Corgan's...
is the Latin pronunciation.
He wants to do that. Adore
I always wish I had learned Latin, by the way.
You said that on the last podcast.
Oh, did I?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that was one of my 3 things.
Yeah, you wanted to learn that. But are they having a sophomore slump after Melancholy and Infinite Sadness?
Having 3 pretty well-received albums with
having one massive album, for sure.
What's the ads? I mean, what was the sales between Siamese Dream and... Siamese Dream, Gish was certified platinum.
Yep.
So what was the Siamese Dream? Was it triple platinum? I think it had to be, right?
What does it say here? They're neither sellouts nor one-offs after this album.
Excellent.
Which was a huge thing back then. Whether you're going to be sellouts, and play the game, or you're going to be just a one-hit great wonder. It doesn't say.
Come on.
Okay. Well, eventually the album was finished. Okay, that's the budget of the album.
$250,000 budget? Really? Can you imagine?
I would love to imagine. That'd be awesome. If someone's like, "Here's $250,000, go make an album," I'll make Siamese Dream. I'll make that fucking album.
I don't know. How can that even be a thing?
Endless resources, man. Okay, so here we go.
4 times platinum.
4 times platinum. So Siamese Dreams.
Quadruple platinum is what the kids call it.
No, they don't call that anymore.
They don't?
No. And then let's go Melancholy. No, I'll just go Melancholy. How about that? Look at that. It should come up, right? That's just dumbing down America.
Okay. And then...
certifications. Boom. We figured it out. It's Diamond.
Diamond. 5 million. So 4 million to 5 million. That's not that big of a jump. I mean, that's not like...
album sales wise, no. Hits on the song and exposure,
I think
much more.
But that's interesting. So they went from 1 million sales to 4 million sales to 5 million sales, which is not like... But you want to talk about the jump.
You're right, but we don't know if the jump is linear or if it's after the fact. If kids, because again, this is what used to happen. Once an album hits, they're like, "Oh, I got to go listen to the early stuff." Sure, so did Siamese Dream get a bump after Melancholy? Probably.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Maybe. Some.
Of course it had to have.
Some, but I don't know.
I know that's how I experience Smashing Pumpkins. My uncle told me I was going to Sam Goody, and he's like,
Sam Goody in the mall.
I was gonna buy
it's kids. Now a Who Hot.
Yeah, they used to sell CDs, which were a thing. Anyway,
now it's Who Hot.
Doesn't matter.
You can get a Mongolian grilled food there now.
Not for $20, but
yeah, you can.
I was going to Sam Goody, and my uncle was at the house.
Takes me an hour to eat.
And he was like, he's like, you need to buy Siamese Dream. That's what you need to get. I'm like, okay.
You never steered me wrong, weird uncle.
I have enough money to buy one album, so yeah. I will do this. And I bought Siamese Dream. I loved it. So I went, I guess, a little bit different, but I know there's kids that bought Melancholy and Infinite Sadness, and then were like, oh, what's their earliest stuff? Because this had so many hits on it. This had their biggest hits on it.
It's hits.
Tonight, Zero, what 1979. It's just phenomenal.
God, I mean, just
Bullet with Butterfly Wings. It's great.
Really
good. I think that was it. I think they had 4 hits, but that's great for any album. I know it's a double album, but
it's no Love Below in Speakerbox, but
that's another great double album, though.
Fabulous double album.
I love that one. Yeah.
Really? I mean,
is that your favorite double album?
Sure. I mean, are we counting Use Your Illusion and Use Your Illusion 2?
No, that's a sequel.
Is that a sequel?
Yeah.
Is that like Load and Reload?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Both Load and Reload are. I always loved, as a Metallica fan, I always liked Load and Reload. I always got a lot of shit from my friends for liking Load and Reload.
Like, anytime I heard Fire, it just pissed me
You mean Fuel?
off. I'm sorry. Yes. Give me fuel, give me fire, give me that which I saw. It's like I fucking
see.
Like in my younger youth days, like when I was like probably a sophomore, and I would sit there and I would lay in my bed and I would listen to the radio as I'm going to sleep. Mm-hmm. And I think it was 10:30.
Oh, they would do the Metallica.
Mandatory Metallica, I think, was at 10:30.
Mm-hmm. And they did that nationwide, by the way.
Did they?
Yeah.
Oh, and it was just like, and we're fucking done.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm turning you off.
But that's because that's how big that band was, and still is to this day.
It's time for Mandatory Metallica. Here it is, Master of Puppets. I'm like, oh, get out of here with your cheesy ass fucking stare.
Wait a second. You don't Do not
off.
talk shit about Master of Puppets, okay?
It's like when
I'm not going to allow you to do it.
I had a really wonderful time listening to the Black Album as a 13-year-old boy. Loving the Black Album because oh man, this is some hard rock. That's what a 13-year-old like as far as enjoying hard rock. Mm-hmm. That's what it is.
Would your niece like the Black Album?
She'd be like, all right, whatever this corny horseshit is.
It's great. It's a great album. Anyway, go on.
No, but anyhow, I'm like, you guys, you're corny as shit. Like, it's a little too corny. And
no, what are you talking about?
Like, as far as, for me, Metallica was always hair metal that took themselves too seriously.
Whoa, you're so far off base. There's many levels in different families of metal, for sure. Metallica at no point
is hair metal.
No, they were thrash speed metal, which was a whole different thing, and it was the 80s, so yeah, there was hair involved, but there was no eyeliner or spandex involved.
They wore some spandex.
No, they did not. They wore leather. I'll grant you leather, but no spandex.
No.
For what you're thinking of, like Rat and Striper and Poison, the Metallica was often this other brand of metal that was much more punk rock and anything, but it's not the same beast. They actually moved from Los Angeles because of all the hair metal bands to San Francisco because they were tired of the Los Angeles music scene.
I also remember watching their behind the music and be like,
oh, I love that.
Fuck you guys. Like, that's all. Like, fuck you guys. Like, there was something about like just those guys, and maybe it was.
I'll defend Metallica all day long.
Maybe some of it was like Lars.
Yeah, can Lars be a dick? I'm sure he can be.
And like my buddies.
But I want Lars to be my friend. That's the thing. I like if I have to choose between Lars being my enemy or my friend, I want to be my friend all day long.
My buddies were, I would say, pretty cutting edge on the downloading music on Napster stuff. Uh-huh. And it's like, oh. And then you got Lars over here.
But if you're going, he was right about that, though. He was right in every way, shape, or form. He was right about that. It killed the industry. It killed it. And he called it. And he was just the guy.
I think there was a way for them to probably work. Listen, if if you're telling me that the music industry did not drag their fucking feet,
no, I'm not saying that.
I'm saying
that he called that it's going to be the demise, and it's also a problem when you have people in the studio stealing your songs and putting it up there, because that's also what was happening.
That's a problem. Right. No, okay. My thing is, I think that you want to be on the cutting edge. You want to be on the forefront. You want to get ahead of the wave. Mm-hmm. And the music industry was not it. We've gone back and forth a little bit on, music downloads and the state of music today, and what's happened.
We don't need to get bogged down on it again.
We don't need to get bogged down on it. But I do think that it was okay. What can we do? Can we get ahead of this? And they couldn't.
They had opportunities to do it for sure.
But
that's not Lars Ulrich's fault.
I think it a little bit was, because he led the charge. He led the litigation side. He wasn't leading the.
No, that was long after. That was long after the record industry passed up on it, like multiple times, 2 or 3 times. They had the opportunity to start moving towards that, and they didn't. And then they could have monetized it. They could have released it. They didn't do it. CD sales were at an all-time high when they were approached with it. Aerosmith was the first one to ever release a song digitally for download, like in 1996 or something like that.
Was that Pink?
It might have been, but it took forever to download. But again, it was the precursor. That was the first time. There's actually a great documentary online about Napster, and because it's one of those situations where not one party, like the parties that are in the public eye. The guy that started Napster or Lars Ulrich are the parties in the public eye.
Sure.
Like good guy, bad guy, when it's really that kind of going back to The Wire, the third element of everything. There's actually
Sonny Bono.
Then you have the record industry that actually was the people that had the opportunity to make this decision, and they didn't do it. Someone took advantage of that, and somebody else pointed that out. And both sides are right, because it's.
I want to say, like, as somebody. I love copyright law. I think copyright law is a very interesting part of the American system of law in our judicial system. I think it's a really interesting part. I enjoy it. I think it's fucking bloated as shit. I think there's a real problem with it. Mm-hmm. The idea that you can make a song right now, and you can live until you're 109. And then it's going to be another 7 years after you die that song is going to be stuck in purgatory forever. And
you can't make money on that song anymore anyway, so that doesn't really matter. I mean, I see what you're saying, but
so it like
the monetary value of that is long gone.
I think copyright is just like, and it's all Disney's fault. Just
what else is new?
FYI, it's all Disney's fault with the Sonny Bono Copyright Act of 1996. It's garbage. And so I enjoy copyright. I believe in copyright. I think people that should get paid for what they've done, but sitting there and clinging to an old system and understanding that the world's changing. The digital age was a wave. It was a total shift in paradigm and how we look at things, and to leap and to try to ride that wave and try to navigate those waters is going to be difficult. But instead, I think the record industry just sat there and cling. They just cling. They cling.
They cling to the $25 album. Yeah. No doubt. And you can also understand, kind of like we were talking about with like an original idea last episode, like you could go a lifetime with thinking you had an original idea, and you just never had the ability to cross-reference that and figure out. So I understand the basis of it.
And then and then you have record industries today going after and suing, having the family of Marvin Gaye and the Marvin Gaye estate suing people for anything that sounds remotely like Marvin Gaye, and being able to. Are you
talking about the Pharrell and Robin Thicke?
Yeah.
That was a legit lawsuit. I mean, that was. Yeah. Whether they could settle it out of court or go to court, because the Sam Smith Tom Petty issue was the same. Sam Smith song, I forget what it was, but it was I Won't Back Down. It does sound like I won't back down. No, it's the same chord progression slowed down. Whether he maliciously did it or not doesn't matter.
Right.
But Tom Petty didn't take him to court. He just said, give me 25% of songwriting or whatever.
Really? I don't like 25% is, I think, a lot. Just
outside of going, taking you to court and taking it all.
Okay. So it's either
he might have just been added actually as a songwriter, honestly, and then just gotten
some royalties.
Some royalties from it.
Like the idea of being kind of a dick and a full-on dick.
Tom Petty was not a dick in that situation. He could have been a giant dick.
He could have been a giant dick, but
I think it was, if I'm thinking about it again, he was just added.
He just added as a songwriter.
Yeah.
Did he get royalties out of that?
Well, of course you do.
Yeah, I mean,
because that's what happens when you write a song and then someone slows it down and takes the same chord progression and melody, mind you, and then just does their own song with it.
It's, for me, they sound fairly different. I mean, you have to really think about it. And also, I mean, if you're going to take it to court, you have to prove.
Stay with me. That's what it was called. And if you do stay with me, because here's what I did. I won't back down, and I slowed it down to my fucking head. And I was like, won't back down. Stay with me. It's the same fucking song.
I think.
Now, whether he did it or
maliciously.
No,
I don't. I think that's, for me, like, that's the thing, is like doing it maliciously. And that's not like with not malice. What's the word I want to say? With
intent.
Intent.
But
right.
To your point though, and again, it ties back to like this Napster thing, and it ties back to what we're talking about. Like, if what I'm doing, even if I'm not doing it with malicious intent, but I'm still doing something that is stepping on someone's toes or doing something that someone else has done or infringing on that, it depends on how you want to handle it. Now, Marvin Gaye's estate is going to handle it by going to court. Tom Petty is going to say, just add me as a songwriter, and then we're done with it. And that's if you get hit in the back driving your car, people can claim that their neck is hurt and take you to court and sue you, or be like, give me $1,000.
My problem is with especially like Blurred Lines of Marvin Gaye, is that it was a big piece of evidence. Was they said we were influenced by Marvin Gaye. We wanted to make a Marvin Gaye-esque song. Mm-hmm. We want a song that kind of has that same vibe. So if I say who I am being influenced as, that can be held against me in the court of law. That pisses me off. I should be able to say, who's really influenced me is X, Y, and B's band. Mm-hmm. And that band, hopefully, my people who enjoyed my music would go back and listen to their music as well and understand where I'm coming from and the vibe that we're going for.
Right. And I get that. So, and look, I love Pharrell Williams. I don't like Robin Thicke at all. I think he's a piece of shit, but and that doesn't matter right now. But I did
really
follow this.
When I Get You Alone.
I followed this pretty closely when it was happening.
Also, I like Alan Thicke.
I like Alan Thicke much more than his offspring. But I remember I was following this pretty closely because it was interesting to me. Like these are always interesting.
It's interesting.
I believe, if I remember incorrectly without looking it up, the track was a sample that they took from a Marvin Gaye song that was an uncredited. It was like crowd noise from from a Marvin Gaye song that they used with uncredited. And I'm pretty sure that's what the issue was with the lawsuit, or then they corroborated it by saying they wanted to make it like a Robin or like a Marvin Gaye song.
I want to say no. I'm gonna challenge you on this one.
We can look it up.
I want to say that these copyright laws, when it comes to like the actual writing and melodies and shit like that, only goes off of the sheet music. If I put in front of you the sheet music of both of these songs and they look too familiar and it's the same in the same chords or same progression, same beats per minute, something like that, then they can say they can only go off what's been submitted to the Copyright Office.
Samples included though.
Not including samples. No, because not for songwriting. Sampling's a different license.
We're gonna look it up here. Ready?
Correct me if I'm wrong.
I love Noticeably Ripped Off. When he wrote, Robin Thicke did. Okay, maybe he was in the room. I don't want to.
He says he was like too coked out of his mind to really.
Right.
That's like.
I love how that is. Isn't it awesome? If
my
your dad's
defense is
Alan
just
Thicke? I was just too coked out.
my defense is I was just too coked out. I think that was like his defense.
Well, yeah, but again, if I'm too coked, this is the problem with songwriting credits, is if I'm too coked out of my mind in the studio with Pharrell making songs, I get songwriting credits because I was there in the room. It's the whole Family Guy Ben Affleck joke. But
yeah, because I remember I also was following this pretty closely as well, because I think it's copyright law is something I'm weirdly like.
Well, when it comes to songs and everything, I really enjoy it because there are a lot of great examples. There's a ton where you're like, and again, I really think a very small percentage of them are intent to rip off.
Sure.
I really think a lot of it's, I forget what do they call it, but
I mean, that's subliminal, but it's, I've heard the song a gazillion times. It is in my subconscious. It is buried deep within inside me, listening to Won't Back Down. And that is buried deep inside me. Mm-hmm. That is like signatured on my soul forever. I know that song. And if I like, but the problem is it's just so, and I remember listening to Gotta Give It Up and being like,
you're right. He was high. He was drunk and high on Vicodin is what it's.
Not cocaine. I'm sorry. Sorry. my apologies.
Robin Thicke. It's just drunk and high. No, he's not. Anyway, you were saying that he was barely involved in production, claiming that Williams wrote almost every single part of the song. That's what I'm saying about pop artists. That's what I'm saying. You give Pharrell. I don't like shitting on Pharrell. I think Pharrell is an amazing genius.
He's an amazing producer,
and I don't think he would do anything malicious like this.
Right. I mean, listen. Hey,
now, does that mean he's not wrong, or doesn't mean that he's
what I love?
Stepping on toes.
I love those songs where it's like that. I love that groovy, sexy hooks of Marvin Gaye. I want to make kind of a groovy, sexy song like Marvin Gaye today. So, how can I do that without having their fucking estate coming after me, trying to claw up every fucking dime I've ever made ever?
So,
and that's my problem.
So it's citing the GQ article that says that also cited where Thicke said he'd stolen from Gaye, including telling GQ that one of his favorite songs was "Gotta Give It Up," and that he told Williams that he should write a song with that same groove. Okay,
and that's bullshit. Okay, in my opinion, that's bullshit. Like I should be able.
But that's not the only thing we found so far.
I want to make a song. I want to make a song that's kind of like this. Mm-hmm. I want to make a song that's kind of like that, but I want to do it for fucking 30 fucking years later. I want to make a song 30. The idea that 30 years after like I made a song, my family is coming after trying to claw money, and that's what it is because it's not Marvin Gaye. I mean, God bless Marvin Gaye. R.I.P. I love him, but it's his fucking children's children.
So what you're getting to with the sheet music is that the admissible evidence in court. So them playing the song, they can't
play the song.
Correct. So the admissible evidence in court was only sheet music. So that's not necessarily
and the thing is like that's the interesting thing is like somebody did this where anytime a guitar solo happened, if the record company was lazy and their 19-year-old kid that they hired to transpose mm-hmm. the music to sheet music, if I'm Robert Plant and I'm doing my big noodling solo and they do a shitty job of writing that down, then it's not admissible. And it can be used, and I could sample that, and they have absolutely no rate, not sample, but I can like redo Robert Plant's solo on the guitar, and there's no way for you to come after me.
Are you talking about Jimmy Page? You're saying Robert Plant? Robert Plant doesn't play anything.
I don't fucking know.
Okay, well, okay, but yeah,
same band.
Same band.
Same band.
Yeah. What they're also a very shitty example. They're shitty example.
Stole. I mean, just
like there's a laundry list.
I mean, straight up stole.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's the difference between, So I'm going to straight up steal this thing. This,
Talk about
a whole lot
malicious
of love.
intent.
That's a whole lot of love. If that's not malicious intent, I don't know what is.
It's
as compared to Sam, what is his name? And
Sam
Tom
Smith.
Sam Smith and Tom Petty.
Yeah. It's a one-off versus the countless examples of Led Zeppelin. It's multiple for every album.
Right.
And Jimmy Page's work as a studio guitarist and the amount of stuff. And again, whether I'll even entertain the idea that he had worked on enough stuff that the original stuff can be derived from that. It depends on how everyone wants to play it out.
Sure.
If you listen to Stairway to Heaven and then the
thing,
I've never really gotten behind it being similar.
I can hear it, but once again, I think that's literally okay. I changed 2 notes or something like that, and it's not like
we're not finding an example or like a definitive reason why the jury said they favored in Martin. Because they did ask for $25 million and they were only awarded $5 million. So
and for me, and this is the other thing, is that it's the estate. That's what pisses me off. I come from the idea of like my children get nothing, like ever. That's the idea that my children get to, okay, story time. Mm-hmm. I have a book called Things I've Said to My Children. It's been published, and
where can they find it?
They can find it on Amazon.com.
Oh, fun.
Through, who's my publisher? Not Random House. It's a subsidiary of Random House. It doesn't matter. Anyhow.
Are you big leaguing me? Hmm? Are you big leaguing me?
I'm not big leaguing you because it's a subsidiary. It's not random. Anyhow. 10 Speed Press. That's the subsidiary of Random House.
Friend of the show.
Friend of the show. Okay. I follow them on Twitter. Anyhow.
And follow us on Twitter at TCBA_podcast.
That's a thing.
It is. Anyway.
Anyhow. The idea that my children, right? Okay, let's say my children, they go ahead and they have kids, right? Mm-hmm. My grandchildren, my kids die, I'm dead. But it's 70 years after I'm dead. My grandchildren and my grandchildren's grandchildren have a right to something I made.
Okay, so but
that's what I find to be absolutely fucking absurd.
Right, but
I'm going to live
on the world where they're defending. Let's say you were truly ripped off, and you were being exploited and then just taking advantage of.
Right.
There's that world. And then there's the money grab world. Both exist. Both are all those decisions exist in any decision we make in America.
Sure. But copyright has such fucking teeth.
Yes, it does and it doesn't. Because again, going back to
if you got lawyers.
If you have lawyers, but also these songs existed. I mean, this lawsuit came from, let's think here. This is from 2015. These were, I mean, they go through here actually how much money they made from this song.
I don't know how much money they made.
No, how much money they did go through this. A testimony of the jury learned that the song of the summer earned its composers close to $17 million, of which $5.6 million went to Thicke. About 5.2 went to Williams.
That's God. You know what? You want to talk about a crime? You want to talk about a crime? That's it.
The crime
that's the crime right
and
there.
$700,000 went to T.I. The rest went to the record companies.
Oh yeah.
Williams earned 4.3 in its publishing from the song and $860,000 for being his producer. That's the crime.
That's the real crime that Robin Thicke got.
Who admittedly was drunk and high on Vicodin and made $5.6 million because his dad was the dad on Growing Pains. Oh my God!
Did you ever listen to Robin Thicke's When I Get You Alone?
No.
Oh no! I really enjoyed it.
Here's the two things I hate most in the world:
Beethoven or whatever.
I hate
Mozart.
I hate
nepotism.
Pop stars that have no fucking talent whatsoever and nepotism. And you put those two things together and you get your Miley Cyruses and the Robin Thicke's of the world who have worked together. No shocker there.
I don't remember that one, but Go ahead.
Well, it was in the article. Anyway. No, so I have no time of day for those fucking people.
Yeah.
And he makes $0.4 more million than Pharrell just on the song, just on the earnings from the song.
Sure.
And to make $17 million on a song, even in 2015, that's insane.
Was it a good song?
I mean, it's okay. Pharrell's made much better songs.
I distinctly remember this song. Like, I was driving down to Davenport, and I'm like,
Florida.
Oh, what the fuck is this? And I turned it up, and I'm like, this is making the hairs on the back of my neck tingle. Mm-hmm. This is fucking solid.
Yeah, Pharrell has an amazing touch with pop songs.
And then I'm like, oh man, that was a good song. And then changing channels and driving a little bit farther down the road to a different station, came on again. I'm like, same song. This is fucking gold.
Well, it was the song of the summer. But again, that had to be the biggest song of the year.
It was huge. It was I want to say that was the same time. That was the same episode summer as Get Lucky with Daft Punk, also with Pharrell. It was the same. I want to say that was the same summer.
I want to say it was earlier, but anyway.
That's the same fucking summer, I think. Pharrell had a huge fucking summer that year. Fucking insane.
2013.
2013.
So a couple years before.
Huh?
Yep.
2013. When was
2015 was what we were looking at here.
Well, that was when they settled out of court, son.
Blurred lines.
I'm gonna sit here. I'm gonna fucking condescend you fucking piece of shit.
Ugh.
Ugh. You're not wrong. It's kind of gross.
Give me your goddamn
July 2013.
Okay, yeah. I remember being on the Daft Punk side of that one.
So. I mean, both of them. Incredible.
Yeah.
Incredible.
He had a great run. I mean, he's still on a great run. Pharrell has an amazing discography.
I remember, like, I want to say I was in freshman in high school. Or no, college. Mm-hmm. When Lap Dance by NERD came out. And I'm like, that's good. That's good.
It's a great blend of hip hop, rock, and pop. Like, he really understands. And again, I'll always defend Kanye. I'll always defend Pharrell. I'll always defend Outkast. Just pop artists like Rick Ocasek of the Cars. Mm-hmm.
Phil Spector.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah. But more like pop artists that understand the totality of what they're creating.
Sure.
I think they should get more credit. Again, like he shouldn't make $400,000 less than Robin Thicke because of the deal that they signed.
Right.
When Robin Thicke, by his own admission, said that he was just drunk and high on Vicodin while Pharrell was writing the song. And organizing it. Like, it's so much work. Here's
the deal. How about this? Mm-hmm. Why don't we give Robin Thicke a little bit of credit? If I'm Robin Thicke, and I'm like, I need to make a hit song, I've been given money, my contract, I need to get a hit song. I'm going to get Pharrell. I'm going to pay him. This is supposed to be my song, but I'm going to give him almost the same amount of money.
That's not Robin Thicke's decision. That's his manager's decision. That's his record label's decision.
You're not giving Alan Thicke's kid enough.
No. You're not understanding how the record industry works. Like,
you're going to get Pharrell in.
We need you to have a hit, so we're going to bring you in. That's why Taylor Swift's albums have like 14 different producers on it for a 12-track album, because they're bringing in whoever hits. I go back to like Mutt Lange and Shania Twain. Like, it's a rarity, or even like a Jim Steinman Meatloaf kind of relationship where if you can find somebody that can produce and work and make because Jim Steinman, like it said, released would have been the follow-up himself. It wasn't nearly as successful as Battle of the Hell 1.
But so then you got to tell people who Jim Steinman is. But I mean, like that. I mean, that's what part of the problem is.
But But also, there's Meatloaf's delivery of Jim Steinman's songs creates the team. That's the whole thing. Like Elton John and Bernie Taupin are a great example too.
I don't know who Bernie Taupin is, by the way.
Bernie Taupin is Elton John's lyricist. Like has been his entire career.
Yeah.
So if you think about Elton John's songs, one of the best things about him is the imagery of the lyrics. And
that's Barry Taupin, huh?
Yeah, Bernie Taupin.
Bernie?
Bernie, yep.
And that's a real person.
That's a real person.
Okay. Is that a movie? Is this a movie? It's a play. If anything, it's a play, by the way, just FYI.
What? Bernie Taupin?
No, like the idea of having... I want to see like 3 acts of this...
Oh.
I want to see 3 acts of this
early
story.
success, fall apart, and revival.
Or maybe that's it. I want to see it's the same 2 actors. It's a 2-person play. Ready for this? It's a 2-person play, but it is played before success, during success, and after success of should be Pharrell Williams and
No, there's better examples.
Jim Steinman, Meatloaf.
Meatloaf, yeah.
And who was the other one? We just said one.
Bernie Taupin and Elton John, or Mutt Lange and Shania Twain.
Mutt Lange and Shania Twain.
Mm-hmm.
And then Barry Taupin and
Celine Dion and her husband, who's dead.
Yeah. Oh, he's dead?
Yeah, he died.
And also Jim Steinman, because Jim Steinman wrote 2 of Celine Dion's biggest hits.
But
the idea, I have the same 2 actors playing different characters at different point in that producer-musician relationship before, during, and after.
We're convoluting it too, because again, Pharrell is, I know I'm getting inside baseball, but Pharrell,
he wrote all of it.
But yeah, Pharrell is as much a songwriter as he is a producer, and vice versa. Like, there are definitely in Jim Steinman is probably more. Was he a producer on?
I think he's technically a producer. I mean, he wrote all the songs.
But
I want to say he also technically produced it. I want to say.
Because those are totally different jobs, and to be able to do both of those things, and again, not to take anything away from, especially in Meatloaf's case, the delivery and the ability
to sing those songs,
because sometimes it is like the appendage on a larger body,
sure.
You remove one of them, and then the body's not nearly as strong.
Yeah, I can't.
I know there's probably a better
when I write
analogy
my
out there,
concerto.
Todd Rundgren was the producer. Holy fucking shit!
No?
I don't want to work. I just want to bang on my drum all day.
Oh, that was
Todd Rundgren.
Todd Rundgren.
Rundgren.
What else did he?
He played. He's been around. I didn't
didn't know.
What's
he?
He was the only producer on Bad Out of Hell, by the way.
Interesting. God, what a great album.
But so. In the work that Todd Rundgren and Jim Steinman did in Bad Out of Hell, Pharrell did solely, and with a little help from T.I. to make Blurred Lines.
No, T.I. was just brought in probably as a...
to do it first. He got $700,000.
That was just for his rap interlude.
That's what I'm saying. So he did a little bit.
He did his rap interlude with Pharrell.
But
probably was a lyricist, but that was about it.
But that's the thing that Robin Thicke didn't even get. He didn't even get...
Oh, no, right.
Because they talked about how...
I know you want to shit all over Robin Thicke, friend of the show. But, you're not wrong. I understand where the talent is. And Pharrell is where the talent is. Also, T.I. is also talented.
Yeah, and advocating for social change.
T.I. is?
I believe there was something that he was doing to bring up...
listen, he went to prison, so he's probably all about prison.
What was T.I.'s cause? I think it was something...
probably, prison reform, because he went to prison for, some... he was third strike gun charges, I want to say. He had a couple of run-ins early, actual run-ins where he probably should have gone to jail, shooting people as a youth. And then...
Why does T.I. not just come up right away? T.I.
T.I.
I guess I got to do the extra I. The rapper.
That's
new
it.
Keyboard.
I remember enjoying T.I.
I thought he was talking about something.
He's against people getting shot. If that...
And we are as well. Friend of the show.
Speak for yourself. You don't get to talk for me, Bobby.
Anyway, I thought he had a different cause. But anyway. But no, going back to I
really liked him in ATL. Did you watch that movie about roller skating?
I did not. No, I remember it coming out, but
You could do yourself a favor.
no, I won't. No, do yourself a favor and listen to Todd Rundgren's "Bang on My Drum All Day." It's classic.
It's good.
Oh, it's great.
I mean, it's an excellent work anthem.
Yeah, well, he also produced one of your favorite albums, so
It's a great album.
yeah.
It's a really good album. What else is he
What else has he produced?
produced? That's the real question. And this is why we need like an IMDb page for musicians. I mean, my buddy in college came up with that concept. Like, what other albums did Todd Rundgren produce?
Really well, yeah, because it's really convoluted.
It's
As a producer, here's his productions and stuff.
Those are just selected ones.
Remote Control, The Tubes. What was their hit? They had a hit.
Dreams Come True. TV.
But again, we're looking at
Next
a
position.
person like Pharrell who can do both the writing and the producing of it.
Yeah.
And you're separating it out, you're parceling it out, and again, maybe that's just spreading around a paycheck, but because you have a budget to spend.
Some of it is.
Some of it is, but I think nowadays where
What cost $250,000?
Gish, no, Siamese Dream.
Siamese Dream.
Yeah, yep.
How much did it cost to make just blurred lines?
Just blurred lines. I don't know if we're going to find a budget for blurred lines.
I mean, here's the deal. Can it honestly cost? I mean, if I'm the best singer ever, right? To get the mechanical license just to have the recording of the song of the best singer ever, I mean, $30,000, is that too much? I mean,
well, you're looking at studio time. That's what it is. I mean, like as far as like
even
charging,
in 2012,
but going back to why
or
everything
2013,
why everything was failing, like why everything was working to a point, and then when it just shut off, like when someone just shut off the faucet, is because you had a contract where you could sign and you'd be given a loan that you have to repay back, so there was no risk for the record label whatsoever. Because if you didn't, you'd always have to pay it back.
It's a write-off.
Yep. But if you did, you probably had a hit, and you probably made money for everybody because you get a percentage of the profits. And then there's a budget for making music videos. There's a next budget for your album based on the previous success of your other album. There's constant ways to make money. There's a
constant way to funnel to look like you lost money. By the way, that's the other thing.
Sure, but if I'm a studio, if I'm a label, and again, you're recording at our studios, we gave you a loan. You're using our stuff. I'm charging you on a loan that I gave you.
I'm renting
to you, from money I loaned you.
It's all funny money. That's what I'm hearing. It's all funny.
It is, but that's where when they say studio time, what costs the most. It's because the record label set the studio time and they gave them the money to do it. They're like, I'm going to give you $100,000, but guess what? It's $1,000 an hour for studio time. So,
sorry,
or whatever, whatever dollar amount they want to put on it.
And then when I bring in the London Philharmonic, that's extra.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I heard that somewhere.
Yeah. What was that? That was a Simpsons joke.
Was it? I'm literally pulling. Talking about coming up with the same ideas.
Yeah. What was it?
I don't know.
It was a lot of the Smashing Pumpkins were in that episode.
Oh, yeah.
Someone ordered the London Philharmonica, possibly while high.
Was it Peter Frampton? Peter Frampton?
Peter Frampton.
Peter Frampton was in that episode.
Public
right?
Enemy. I'm looking. No. Oh, God, it wasn't Public Enemy.
Cypress Hill.
Cypress Hill.
I'm looking at you.
Cypress Hill. I'm looking at you. Insane in the Membrane. Dun, 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 dun.
That's good.
That's a great
good.
Simpsons joke.
That's good.
A great. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. The London Philharmonic. Cypress Hill. I'm looking at you.
Cypress Hill. Possibly while high.
But that's a comment on how egregious the music industry was in the mid '90s, where you're like, oh yeah, we got really high and we did order the London Philharmonic. That's the whole thing. And then it sounds really great. So
story time.
Okay.
So 4th grade. For the 4th and 5th grade, every other year, you would, as part of music class, we would record us lip syncing a song.
6th grade. What year is this?
So this was, I gotta do math here. Hold on.
Mid '90s.
Yeah, it's no, 5th, 6th. Hold on. Yeah, so it was 90.
You guys are using
90
camcorders?
Yeah, with the camcorder. It was like 94, 95.
Okay. It's an expensive bit.
94.
Yeah. Still an expensive bit.
It's an expensive bit. And yeah, so it was like, okay, you guys, go ahead and make a song. Enjoy. I mean, whatever song you want to play, and we'll record you lip singing. That was the project for music class.
Mm-hmm.
And somebody did Cypress Hill, Insane in the Membrane.
Insane in the Brain. Sorry. Yeah.
It was great. It was great.
Yeah.
I was a part of the production of 3 music videos as part of this project.
Oh. 3 separate music videos.
Yeah,
Not a song called 3.
One of them was "Country Boy Can Survive" by.
I'm not familiar.
That's Charlie Daniels.
Okay.
I think. And then also, Taco. What's Rico Suave, but it's Weird Al's version of Taco Grande.
Okay. Going back to
comedy.
songs.
And then a Leader of the Pack version.
Okay.
Like I think that was no, I take that back. I don't remember. Anyway.
Yeah.
It was crazy. That was the thing. That's all like anytime I think about Cypress Hill, I always come back to that moment in time. It was after like I grew up and understood that both MC Hammer and Vanilla Ice's were bitches.
Mm-hmm. In the rap game.
In the rap game.
Not in real life.
Well, listen, people tell you that Hammer he's hard. Like he grew up in the Bay.
Don't fuck with Rob Van Winkle.
Don't listen, Hammer, he'll cut a bitch. Like
he found Jesus. I don't think he'll cut a bitch.
He'll knock somebody out. There was a great there's a documentary called Ghost Ride the Whip.
Mm-hmm.
About Bay Area rap culture.
Mm-hmm. I just love the term "Ghost Ride the Whip."
Are you familiar?
Yeah, I'm familiar. Yeah.
Yeah, there was a whole
where you hang outside your car and it drives
just walk and it was narrated by Sway.
Troy from Community says "Ghost Ride the Jib" on one of the episodes.
Does he?
Yeah, he's ghost riding the jib.
Oh man,
where they're on a sailboat. I thought it was a great play.
Oh man, I remember that one.
Yeah,
because that was who was the $6 million man?
Steve Austin.
Well, that's the character's name. Who's the actual actor? Yeah, who's the actor's name?
Oh. I don't know.
Steve Austin is the character's name of the $6 million man.
Yeah, I don't.
The actor's name is doesn't matter.
Anyhow,
he was the captain. He was the boat captain.
Oh, was he?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
FYI.
I did not know that. Anyway.
Yeah. Anyhow, so where were we at? Oh, anyway, Ghost Ride the Whip.
Ghost Ride the Whip.
At one point, I think it was like E40, or maybe somebody else. Like it was after an E40 interview. It was like. No, MC Hammer will fuck you up. He's fucking hard. He
was or is.
I mean, he is from.
This was made in like the late 90s, right?
Oh no, this is like mid 2000s when Ghost Ride the Whip came out.
Yeah, well, I thought the documentary was a little older than that, but
yeah, no, but like as far as what.
I thought it was just like like an underground documentary made, and then it like it got to mainstream.
No,
but anyway,
I mean it was like,
but Hammer found Jesus like.
Oh no, I remember like Hammer like saying like MC stands for like something Christian, Master Christian or something like that, and
he tried to go hard after Hammer time.
When
gangster rap got around.
There's a wonderful. This is an excellent, like, I'm sure you could probably write an entire, like, 5-page paper on it for all you college kids listens. Where Hammer released 2. So after he got signed to Death Row, I think it was Death Row.
I don't believe MC Hammer was ever signed to Death Row.
I think he was signed.
Look it up anyway.
Anyhow, after he got signed to Death Row, he did a song called Pumps and a Bump.
Yeah, I remember the hardcore song he did.
And he released 2 different music videos. One was where he was pretty hardcore gangster, with a ski cap and gold chain, and the other one was straight up booty video.
Yeah,
where he was wearing a like
very loose fitting
cheetah print thong isk thing.
Yeah,
and his, I'm gonna go and say, ding dong was flopping all over the place.
His hammer was flopping.
Yeah. Also, Ron Jeremy like showed up at one point in the video.
You're right. He did sign with.
He signed with Suge Knight
in '95.
It pumps and a bump is the fucking.
I remember that video.
Both videos are fucking ridiculous and very like, as far as being like, both very at the zeitgeist of their time. As far as like their booty video and their gangster video, they're for the same fucking song, but they both like pumps and a bump.
Yep.
It
was a one record deal he had.
Oh, insane! You want to talk? What did you say before? Too legit to quit.
Mm-hmm.
Too legit to quit. Do yourself a favor. Stop this podcast right now. Go over to YouTube and watch the MC, like the full 20-minute long MC Hammer.
VMA?
No, it's not a VMA. It's like a 20-minute long. He wanted to be fucking Michael Jackson.
Yeah. It made total sense.
Too Legit to Quit is like a 20-minute long video starring Jim Belushi and who else?
I remember the VMA production was insane as well. Like when they did MTV VMAs.
Who's the Godfather soul?
Rick James?
No, who's the hardest man working show business?
Not Rick James.
Not Rick James. Jeez.
Oh my God.
I feel good.
I just have Rick James stuck in my head right now.
You got Rick James stuck in your head. I'm a dick. I'm glad this didn't happen during Black History Month.
James Brown.
James Brown.
God,
James Brown is the hardest working.
Yes.
Not Jim Brown.
No.
James Brown. He is an integral part of that music video, by the way. It's insane. It's like so 1992, and it's like literally 20 fucking minutes long. It's fucking insane. Yeah. I want to say Digital Underground shows up at one point in that video, I think.
The prosthetic nose?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think. I don't know.
They did.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
The 90s in rap were weird, you know.
It was.
I feel a lot of people romanticize the rap of the 90s, and I mean, like I love, you know, Dr. Dre was phenomenal. The Chronic
he's on a different level.
Yeah.
I think.
But again, talking about a guy that like wrote, produced, and did a lot of the stuff,
yes,
and then created a superior album. Like again, like I think a lot of like Snoop Dogg's work that people romanticize.
Oh my!
Not
that's Dr. Dre. It's Dre.
It's Dr. Dre, and it's
Doggy Styles is Dr. Dre,
right? And it's not that it's bad, but I don't think it's as great as everyone builds it up to be. Like Gin and Juice is great, but I think it's romanticized in a way.
Is it not Pump on a Bump? Is that what you're trying to say?
No, it's romanticized in a way that I don't know if the music actually holds up or if people like the aesthetic. Because rap is one of those things like where there is so much more going on than just the music. It's the culture. It's the times. It's the
sure.
I'm cool because I'm doing this kind of thing. That doesn't exist in a lot of other musics. I'm not listening to Shania Twain and being like, I'm cool, guys. You know, like fucking
sure. Yeah.
Versus like the white kid in, you know, Anywhere America listening to Snoop Dogg and being like, I'm cool because I'm listening to Snoop Dogg. Not that it's bad, but it's also how is it romanticized?
For me, Doggy Style is only going to be one thing, and that is cruising in my brother's Bronco 2 with his oversized speakers and listening to something that I probably should not be listening to.
The rap video, mimicking the music video. I mean, that's really what it is. It's like you're mimicking what you're seeing on the screen, which is
listen. Snoop Dogg. I mean, that song is...
George Clinton's awesome.
George Clinton is amazing. Did he get paid for that?
Probably. He should have.
I mean...
Atomic Dog is the direct sample of that song.
It is the direct sample.
Mm-hmm.
Don't get me started on samples.
But is that like...
as far as
is it a good
copyright law.
juxtaposition of Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre? It's mainly Dr. Dre. Saying, hey, there's Atomic Dog, and then we can do Snoop Doggy Dog. And it's going to be great. I mean, and it's great because Atomic Dog is already great. I can be Weird Al.
The question is for you, what, I mean, and this is me, and I'm pleading fucking ignorance because I have no clue. Honestly, like me and George Clinton, we did not hook up until PCU came out, the David Spade movie. Yeah. That was the first time like me and George Clinton came together. So the question is, I mean, I've got a feeling that George Clinton was not some kind of mainstream. George Clinton was not some kind of mainstream musical artist. He was not pop. He was not mainstream. But
then,
yeah.
Oh no. Yes, he was. Yeah.
He was. Okay.
Yeah, he produced.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know.
He had moved into producing for sure. So the early Chili Peppers albums, he was their producer for that. Again, another brilliant musical mind. And again, where I don't mind sampling at all. I don't mind going back to like our original thought process of like if you're going to comedically parody something or parody something in general, you have parameters that you have to work within to parody it. You know, and I guess sampling is a weird form of parody because if I do Atomic Dog completely different, I'm not really parodying it. I'm just stealing it. I'm stealing aspects of it to fit my goal.
For me, when it comes to sampling, and I think Josh Bushy, friend of the show, I think, he said it best when it's like, I'm using a song as its own instrument, and that's it. It's its own piece of instrument. It's an instrument that I'm going to play. Right. I'm going to take the song and I'm going to break it apart, and it's going to be my own little instrument, and I'm going to have different notes, and I'm going to use different keys.
No, you're not, because otherwise you're not sampling it. Because I agree with him.
I'm saying like when I take a, I'm going to use I'm going to take the hi-hat from here, but also I'm going to take just a little bit of this. I'm going to use a little bit of this.
I don't think you're.
I'm going to take the first half of this. I'm going to take a couple. Like first half
bars.
of this bar, I'm going to pitch it down, and then I'm going to take the tail end of the chorus, and I'm going to pitch it up, and I'm going to put those two pieces together.
That's not how sampling works. I mean, that's not how sampling is used.
A little bit.
No, I mean, sampling is used of like taking a little bit of a song and then building around it. I mean, sampling is taking. I'm going to take Atomic Dog from George Clinton in the. Can't remember his
Parliament Funkadelic.
Parliament Funkadelic, yeah. That's going psychedelic first, but like that's not right.
That ain't right.
No, but I'm gonna take Atomic Dog, and I'm gonna take literally the chorus and maybe 4 bars of the song, and I'm gonna make an entire song.
Yes.
Okay. So because the ba da dee da ba da ba ba, that's all they're rapping over is the ba da dee da ba da bee da song. It's part of its song.
Yeah.
But they're not adding they didn't have Pro Tools or any ability back then to separate individual hi-hat tracks and then to add them onto.
No, I love
unless you got your hands on the tape itself.
No, there's a great. I mean, unless how clean the hi-hat is. Hey, if there's just one hit, I love that. There was a great. After the 808, I'm trying to remember. After the 808, the first actual sampling machine. I'm trying to remember what it was, and where they would like record it at. I'm going to record that sample at double time, and then I'm going to slow it down, and now I've got like 2 samples out of it. It's fucking insane. Like, once again, innovation coming from necessity.
Yeah.
I'm
that's
going
the shitty way of saying that.
That's the shitty way of saying that. Being able to take something, I'm going to break it apart MacGyver style, the best way I can, and that's what you fucking do when you have absolutely no fucking money whatsoever. Just taking it and breaking it apart and trying to get into my fucking $800 system that I spent every fucking last penny I ever had, and I can get it into this system, and I can slow it down, and I can break it apart. I love that shit. But
within that world though too, there's parody and then there's creativity. And
I think there's a lot,
and there's a world the world that exists in between. Like you can do parody and be creative. I just know I have a buddy I played in a band with who's probably
is he 15, a friend of the show?
Yeah, he's a friend of the show. But he's probably 15, 20 years my senior, and he was telling me about like in the late 80s when they got the first sampling machine, they were able to do samples and everything like that. Right. And what they would do though is they would take songs and they'd program the beats, they'd program the drums and everything, and they'd just play along to them. So again, where your access to technology,
right.
And here's what you're doing with it. It's much more parody, not necessarily creativity.
That's not right. Now that's not creative.
No,
I mean you're just replicating.
So
and that's not what we want.
So that's what we have a lot, and a lot of like a lot of pop music, early rap, not early rap. I would say mid 90s rap became like a easy thing to duplicate. It became a thing of like if I
find a nice hook.
Yeah, if and Dr. Dre did it perfectly. And he was the pioneer, really, of the 90s rap and everything.
Yeah.
I find this song from a 70s, 60s, 70s funk band. I'm going to pretty much steal from them.
I'm gonna lift that whole fucking thing.
I'm gonna lift that whole thing up. I'm going to take a little bit and I'm gonna leave it as a bed track for you to rap over. I'm gonna find anyone that can spit and then get them into the studio. And if they have it, then I win. If not, fuck it, who cares? Let's move on to the next thing, you know? Sure. And that's where, going back to like, I know Marvin Gaye's Family Estate is probably a little more litigious than we need to be, but it kind of stems from all that. It kind of stems from years and years and years of that happening.
But my question is like, what monetary value is it? I mean, how much monetary value is that backbeat? Is it 70%?
For something like Snoop Dogg, like Snoop Doggy Dogg?
Is it 70%? Is it 70%? Is it 70%?
If I'm going to put a percentage on it, I would wonder. For sure, they're not bringing in all new musicians to record that stuff. They're getting.
I would say probably half. So I mean, we're talking about half of
probably new bass, probably new drums, backing vocals though, all that stuff. I mean, you would get to sing it new.
Mean, it's the same. I mean, if I'm writing it out on sheet music,
I'll give a
15.
No, I do 60-40 split.
Really?
If I'm gonna 60
including lyrics, I know lyrics that are a different license.
Yeah, because
I know that's a different license.
Well, because
but of the total song.
Yeah, because if I'm Robin Thicke in the room getting drunk and high on Vicodin, I get 50% no matter what. I'm in the room. Let alone George Clinton and Parliament Funkadelic who have done all his work prior. 60% bump is nothing. Like a 10% bump just because you did all the work prior.
Because it's good.
Yeah, because you did it.
You made a good thing.
Like
60%?
60-40, and then you get a 40% split because again, the audio recognition of knowing a hit, it's already a hit. It's been a hit before.
You're not wrong where it's I am familiar. The Remember Berries kicking in.
Mm-hmm.
There is a problem with that.
Genius of Love is a great example of a song where it's been featured on so many songs.
It's been sampled several times.
But it's been featured on so many shows where I've watched.
It's not the Amen break, but go on.
But it was on episodes of It's Always Sunny and South Park where I'm like, is that Mariah Carey song? Like, what is that?
Yeah.
What is that
It's the same song. I mean,
and it is. It's sampled, the whole thing.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter how you want to look at it. Like the value is already there because someone's already done the work.
Yeah, because it's good. It's good.
And because it's good, I get a leg up for not doing it. Or I get a leg up for using it.
But how much? I mean, that's my...
Monetarily?
Monetarily,
if I were in the room and I get 50% already and I get an extra 10% kick because I already did all the work, that seems like a steal for anybody.
I would say like 10... Like, listen, if you've got a great backbeat, 10%. That's... Because it's gravy. It's fucking gravy. I didn't do anything. As far as like actual work of...
that's worth a 10% kick. It's worth a 10%.
I'm saying 10%. Like you get 10%
Yeah.
George Clinton. You get 10%. Not I'm gonna.
No, you get 60%. You get what you would have already gotten in the room.
No, it's 10.
No, because technically he's in the room. If I'm a lawyer, I'm going through it. I'd be like, technically my client has already done the work to be in the room.
Yeah.
And that's all it takes.
So is Jesus. I mean, honestly, you could probably extrapolate that out. I mean, anyhow.
But it's a situation where the prior work being done.
I understand what you're saying.
But again, if I'm Dr. Dre, if I'm anybody, if I'm Pharrell and I'm sampling, would I take 40% of something or 0% of nothing? And I'll take 40% of a song that could be a massive hit because it's already been in the lexicon. Like that's why bands do cover albums because
I get that. I get that. I think it's for me. It's like I come up with the amazing. I invented Coca-Cola, right? I came up with that recipe, right? Right now, I'm not doing anything. I'm just sitting on my ass and I'm letting Coke go out and produce and make things and change it and put it out there in the world and market it and go crazy. How much my initial idea, how much is that actual worth 100 years later, 20 years later? You tell me. The thing is, it's not, you weren't there. You're not putting actual sweat equity. I understand and I value your idea, but you're not working and you're not changing it. It's work to go and finding nuggets of gold. It's some obscure thing.
But you're using it.
And that's where I'll give you 10%. 10%, I'll give you that. But when you got people like this who are clawing and wanting to own all of it, or 80%. Marvin Gaye did not 80% come up with blurred lines. He didn't. He didn't. So why should
Did you say 80%?
Yeah.
Well, it's 60% is what I'm going for.
Yeah, right.
Because if he didn't do anything and he was like Robin Thicke getting drunk and high on Vicodin, he'd get 50% just being in the room.
But
that's the base level.
Yeah.
That's the base level. And it's not 0. It's not 10. It's not 20, 30, 40. It's 50% for being in the room sleeping. It's being in the room. I get 50%. If even I can be in the building, if you can prove
70 years after you're dead, you get 50% of anything that even comes close to your work.
No.
Anything that
you're getting blurred lines here, honestly.
Oh.
Because here's what's happening. You're talking about direct, like we talk about George Clinton and Snoop Dogg and Atomic Dog.
Yes.
That's a direct sample. That's a direct, we are using this. That's not even debatable. Versus the litigious contention
you
of
are 100%. You are 100% correct.
I'm talking about George Clinton. Parliament
Funkadelic.
We're using their stuff. We are absolutely sampling their stuff. We're
if you're
changing
using a
lyrics.
sample, once again, how much? If I'm going to talk about the totality of the song, and I'm not going to say the album, okay? I'm talking about the totality of a track. If I take 5 seconds of that track and I use it, 100 times. So what's 100 times 5?
That doesn't matter.
How much of your song is based?
Is it 100% of your song?
How much of your song? How much of it is a percentage base of my song?
Look, I will say, if Dr. Dre and George Clinton and Snoop
that's
Dogg
just the music part, and not the lyrics part. I'm going to go and say that I'm going to say lyrics and vocals are its own separate track. It's its own separate
because again,
monetary value.
There are blurred lines too. Again, with this because Atomic Dog and Snoop Doggy Dogg are the same melody. So you are convoluting melody, and melody is more music than That's what I'm saying. Like when you're bringing in sampling and you're bringing in, if I'm going to, what they did with Mariah Carey and Genius of Love,
sure.
I'm taking the actual melody, I'm taking the actual lyrics and using them differently. That kind of bridges over to, I don't care if you came up with
20%.
I don't care if you came up with how many lyrics of the song. I don't care if you rapped over 16 bars of my song for 3.5 minutes.
Yeah.
It's still my music that I created, still the base. It still wouldn't have happened had I had it. And I think to walk away with 40% as the person that capitalize on the popularity of their song is a steal.
I think it's a steal if I'm dead in the grave and have done nothing.
Yeah.
And my offspring, who have contributed literally nothing to the production of my music, get.
Now you know why I wax poetically about how the record industry used to be. And at the end of the day.
At the end of the day. Yeah, I guess that could be a podcast, I guess. Sure.
Yeah.